The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage and let's get this fucking show started.
He's on mute.
Sorry, I like it was some kind of echo or something. It kind of threw me off. I don't know what happened, but anyway, Fantastic Forum assembled. You are watching Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversation about entertainment and geek culture. We are the Fantastic Forum, coming to you live and direct from from Fantastic Forum Studios. Friggin' Los Angeles and Midwest and East and all those places. Hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, as the case may be, depending on where you are in the world. And if you're not, you should stick with us. We'll take it up a notch. You have the usual suspects in the building. First, he is our riddle inside of an enigma, trapped in Chinese finger cuffs. You don't know him. You love him anyway. He's our silent assassin, Jay.
Hey, what's up?
Next, he is our intrepid senior reporter. He's next in line for the cowl. He's our resident Dark Knight detective. It's Oz.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I could tell. I can feel it.
Next, he's the backbone, the pillar, the strength of Fantastic Forum, our nigh invulnerable brawler and resident strongman, Moses Magnum.
What's up?
And as for myself, oh, you don't think it wouldn't?
I don't think it's going to be a good one.
Got it. Okay, there it is. Mo with the confidence. No,
I'm confident it won't be good.
My name's Lawrence Young. They call me Mary Young. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. We got a great show for you today. We are going to be talking to you all about Green Lantern Annual #1. And we're going to be talking to you all about the latest season of Doom Patrol. And of course, we'll be bringing you the latest and greatest in comic news, and of course, whatever else you all want to talk about. So we got all that happening in one fantastic show. It's going to be a good one. And so, you should stick around for it and watch us burn in flames, because, that's what happens. So we have good ones. Anyway, yeah, we'll tell you how it is you can get down with Fantastic Forum in just one moment. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we thank Mr. Scott Rubin, who without him, this show would not have happened. So, hey, shout out to Scott Rubin. Hope you're doing well, good sir. Yeah, man, hopefully we might even get to see Scott Rubin one of these days soon. That'd be nice, because, we're kind of coming out of a pandemic or whatever. Or, I'm sorry, I guess you call it, so you're not supposed to say that anymore, right? Coming out of a whatever. But anyway.
Why can't you say that anymore?
Or, I'm sorry, before. But, who knows? I don't know what you can and can't say anymore. You know how these social media...
YouTube is flagging stuff if you mention certain words, because you might be putting out misinformation.
Right.
Like if you're not an official source, then certain words, like, you'll get reviewed, at least.
Yeah. I know one channel I watch.
We could say you just got to be careful what you say.
Right. I was saying one channel I watch called it the Budweiser virus.
You watch stupid channels.
That's funny. But anyway.
Yeah, why not cool?
Yeah.
It's got more letters in common.
That's fair. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. So listen, if you want to get down with Fantastic Forum, what happened? What I do?
Our timing stuff. The lady's gonna tell you how to.
Here's how you get into Fantastic Forum.
Want to get in on the action? Call Fantastic Forum on Skype and join the fun. Too shy to call in? That's okay. You can join the Discord chat room available at
fantasticforum.live.
Join the party. You know you want to.
There it is. Shout out to the intern. Thank you very much for all your hard work.
The video version of
we'll take
intern.
comments directly.
The video version of the intern is coming soon.
Okay, cool. If you want to get down, or if you want to go ahead and participate, we'll take your comments directly out of chat and bring them into the show. Such as Jay, why don't you insert a witty chat comment here, sir? Please.
Tiger Claw says, "Did you guys see Venom? Let there be carnage."
Yes.
Ugh. Unfortunately.
Larry, this episode's going to be titled "Fuck You, Larry," and I hate you.
Look, I'll take it. I deserve it.
I wasn't planning on watching this, and Emily hates you too. By the way, she don't want to say it.
Yeah,
but
no, it's okay. I deserve it. I deserve it.
I rattled I wasn't gonna watch it, and then you told me, it's like, I watch all sorts of horror movies for the show, except Other Lily. You haven't seen that, and you haven't seen In the Earth. You haven't seen Hereditary. You haven't seen It Chapter 2.
I mean, he's only done a trailer for like one, right?
Right.
He's only done
no, wait a minute. That's not true.
1 minute, 2 minute thing that he watched.
And
but he's watching all these hundreds of things.
Yeah.
Nah, listen, I watched.
He watched the What If finale. We're not even talking about that today.
I didn't watch the What If finale.
Yeah, now where you fronting now, man? Look.
What are you? No, I'm putting that out there because I don't want y'all to spoil it for real. Like, I haven't watched it, so.
I didn't watch it either.
Oh, okay.
I was busy watching that piece of shit Venom.
Nah, dude. No, Jay, you watched it, right?
Yeah.
Jay loved it.
Oh, you would think that, but why would you think that?
I don't know. It's just that's a Joeism, man. Like, this piece of shit. 15 minutes of talking shit. Joe's just on the camera, like, I loved it. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, no, it does sound like a Jay kind of thing to say, and I don't. But even I was watching this, and I'm like, Jay did not like this.
Like, there were scenes missing out of the movie.
Yeah,
like
it's good.
Ridiculous.
Like good scenes.
No, I mean, like, there's literally the climax battle does not make sense.
Yeah, like, I thought I dozed off.
There has to be scenes that are missing in order to explain why Shriek kept leaving and coming, and it.
I don't know how it can be Carnage.
I don't think there's scene missing so much as what's his face that directed it. Circus is not very good. I mean, I
think that might be part of it too.
He shot this like it was a student project. The best thing in it was the what should have been mocap for Venom. Like, that looked better than the original. Everything else, like, he felt like he was trying to, hit all the points in the syllabus that'll give him that A. Like, okay, I got a villain. I gotta make people like feel something for him. No, you don't. Not with Carnage. Like, the one guy who all you have to do is just go balls out with is Carnage. I don't need to feel anything for him. Yeah,
If there is a feeling to be had for Carnage, it should be some sort of impending doom and fear that the fact that, like, think you're Timothy McVeigh or you're John Wayne Gacy now has the power to destroy half a city in 2 days.
You don't need to humanize Cletus Cassidy. Like, he's one of the few characters you just don't need to humanize. But that's always something they teach you in film school. People will love the movie if they could feel like they agree with the villain and they humanize them. And that's what you try to do, and it sucked. It didn't work. There's I just don't think he was paying attention to details, or this movie was edited weird, or like, there's literally a scene where they burn down a building. I don't know how spoilery we're getting. So there's a building that gets burned down, and Cletus Cassidy is like walking in front of it, surrounded by flames and all that. The very next scene, they talk about how fire and sound hurts them. It's like that kind of like little things like that just bugged me.
Yeah, I remember thinking he's standing way too close to that fire.
Yeah,
like when that scene happened.
Granted, Carnage is a little less vulnerable than Venom, but still, you don't do that.
I mean, there's a point where like his clothes catch fire and he's like, oh.
That's the gift for the for the show. Oz going, oh.
And definitely they should have left Shriek out of it. Like, she was pointless. Like,
Yeah.
they had no idea what to do with her. That's why during the final thing, she keeps coming and going, like, away from the climax, because they had absolutely no idea what to do with her. And at a certain point, if something isn't working, you should just take it out. Like, they should have looked at that story and looked at what happened and thought about how the audience would perceive this, and just said, no, she's not working. Like, we need to take her out. We need to do something else. And the sad thing is, she contributes absolutely nothing to this movie. Like,
Yeah.
Really. And it's not that like, she does what they told her to do. It's just the character does not fit in this movie. She does nothing. She contributes nothing. It would have been much better without her.
No, the actress definitely does her job and does it very well. In fact, her chemistry with Woody Harrelson is better than Venom and
Hardy.
and Tom Hardy, even though it's the same dude. Like, it's him talking to himself, but they have no chemistry together. Like, I can't believe that these two belong together. I don't need to see Venom in a rave. I know what they were trying to go with, but that's not needed. Again,
What were they trying to go with? Explain that to me. I don't understand that at all.
It's the breakup, like the buddy breakup movie.
Yeah,
like
it's a combination of that breakup, and in the sequel, in sequel movies, you usually depower the hero at some point,
so he deserves the what he had,
re-earn what they had. Don't look at me like that. That's
really
a thing.
bad.
That's actually a thing.
No, I'm just listening to what they were trying to do and how, like, think about how badly they accomplished that. Like,
Shriek, more to Joe's point, Shriek is just there to humanize Cletus. Like, that's really the only. And again,
like,
attention to detail.
I hate to be the Hollywood executive that she would have been more meaningful if she got killed and then Cletus lost it and got powered and really went on a rampage and created some carnage.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. If you want her there and he's in love with her, yeah, kill her off and have him go nuts. Have Venom do it. Have her escape, because she's obviously got powers. Have her escape. Rampage. What's that?
Oh, yeah, it is.
That's bad for optics.
But it makes sense, because guess what? Shit that's bad for optics is bad shit. And it motivates people to do more bad shit. And eventually a hero that is pretty bad, it has to rise up and do bad shit to stop the dude doing worse shit. You know?
Now, I will say, one of the things that I did enjoy about this movie is that it encouraged me to go buy Amazing Spider-Man 359 to 363, the first appearance of Carnage, and I had a great time rereading that. That was like really fun, and it's really interesting. You like read old comics and you see like all the exposition, and they really do like try to hold your hand. So if you are just coming into a story, they like, it's hard to get lost just because of how much explaining and hand holding they do. Like, at one point, the Human Torch is saying who he is and what team he's from. Like, we don't know who. Like,
hi, I'm the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four.
Right. It's literally him talking to Peter, telling him who he is.
His best friend.
Yeah, it's man, it's a good read. And it's kind of funny too, because you see the Woody Harrelson Carnage Cletus, when you look at like actual Cletus, where he's like looking through the phone book and killing people with stupid names, and it's like, man, that's like terrifying. Like, he's scary. Like, you can't humanize him, like he's just chaos incarnate.
Like even the dilemma
He's
that
like Joker with a symbiote.
Right.
the dilemma that the symbiote had here with Eddie is like, he goes, Eddie, I'm a predator. Eddie, I'm a predator. You know, and that's kind of like the Cletus Cassidy thing. Like, he's a predator and he becomes beyond apex with that symbiote, and it should be a force of nature. Like, this movie really handled it wrong. And you know, Hector in chat says all of this sounds fantastic if there was a Spider-Man in the shit ass universe, and there is a Spider-Man in the shit ass universe, and it's still shit, and it makes that Spider-Man shit if it works out. Like, it's not. Everything is wrong here, from just trying to give Venom, or I'm sorry, trying to give the symbiote a personality that conflicts with Eddie's personality. Eddie has no personality in this movie. He has no drive. He has no reason to even have the symbiote. It just happens by chance, you know. Whereas in the comics, and look, Derek H is probably, his ears gonna, Moses is not in the movies. And this is all technical shit. There's not even adaptation shit. It's trying to find the spirit of this. There's a drive that Eddie has, and a drive that Eddie has that forces him to not be a straight up villain. And that speaks to the similar drive that the symbiote has, and it makes them the lethal protector. These drives are just basic psyche of these characters, and together they do something. You know, some of these lethal protector comics, hit or miss. Larry, you're the Marvel guy. You'll say, like, doing a movie based on those could be good if you consolidate those comics into just like the good stuff and make a trilogy of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's another, like, if you were to set that as the foundation for the Venom in this cinematic adaptation, and you use the same formula for Carnage to be the, for lack of a better term, anti-Venom, you know, to be the antithesis of him based on those ideals and what he does with that power, and have another side of the spectrum, and do you know, almost a clash of ideologies, and it would have been something good with or without Spider-Man. You know, but they didn't lose that foundation.
And that's the thing. This movie is trying to be lethal protector. I know this because it tells you every 10 minutes. They say lethal protector more times than Toretto's set family. Oh, I'm sorry.
And he protects no one.
I will say I did love that line the first time they used it. When he's telling Eddie, like, we should be out there protecting the city lethally.
Jeez.
I like that one.
Well, even in the first movie when they fought the jury, like, that, it was a watered down jury, but it was still like, okay, this is Venom. Like, this is something out of a comic, more or less, you know. But here, I look, it's what you're gonna get from Sony.
Because I guess that's my whole thing, where I'm sitting here like, I knew the movie's only like an hour and a half long. And I watched the first half an hour and I was like, dude, this is terrible.
I wanted to get out of the theater.
And then I'm in the second half an hour and I'm like, dude, this is worse. Like, it's like every half an hour it got worse for me. And I was just like, dang, this sucks. Like, I was like, this is like, I mean, I feel like I'm being punished. And I'm just like, I can't put, like, I shouldn't feel this way. I was just like, it was just so, you know, let me tell you what I hated the most about, like, the climax and when you finally get, well, I won't say finally get, because it doesn't take long to get, I guess, to Venom versus Carnage, but it feels long.
It takes long because they have to do the whole courtship first, planning a wedding and planning. It takes longer than it should.
Okay, I'll give you that. But I hate all the transitioning back and forth between friggin' Venom and Eddie and friggin' Carnage and Cletus, and I'm just like, what are they doing? Like, it's so bad.
I gotta stop you right there because 100 times better than the fight in the first Venom, where it's just a ball of glop, and when you see what they are actually doing underneath, like they're doing like a ballet dance, and all you see is just 2 shades of gray goo, it's just doing this the whole time.
I prefer that.
I know. Look, they're both bad. They're just bad in different ways. So
But,
I mean,
the first time you felt a threat, like there was a threat to Venom here.
I will say that I think I liked the first movie better than this one.
Oh, that's easy. I'll drink to that.
It's a little more coherent. Visually, I prefer this one though.
Really?
Yeah.
Visually.
Okay.
I'm saying visually. I'm not saying story.
Yeah. And I don't like either one, mind you. I'm not saying I'm not trying to give the first one a pass. And I wasn't a big fan of the first Guardians movie, but I could at least say it was an enjoyable experience. Versus Guardians 2, which for me, I was like that. I didn't enjoy watching that movie. It just was just trash. But it is. Other people liked it, and that's fine. But for me, not enjoyable experience.
Man, how did Lawrence get Guardians 3 already?
but I'm sorry. I meant 2.
Oh, he slipped. 2. You see that? The mouse already showed him the footage.
Yeah.
But what I will say is, I didn't enjoy the first Venom, and I thought going into this one that I was gonna probably dislike it, but dislike it in the same way that I disliked the first one. And sure enough, no, this one takes the cake. This is I was like, wow, I'm mad at myself, for allowing myself to fall into this trap of a movie. I knew it was gonna be bad, but I didn't know it was gonna be this bad. I was like, dude, and I'm like, man, I think other people might watch it because I told them to, and I'm like, that's messed up.
Were you thinking about me when you did it?
One right there.
I was.
Were you? Okay. Because I was look, here, when I tell Emily hates you.
No, absolutely. She said it in chat. I saw it.
I wish she would come. I have a second mic set up and everything, a second camera too for her. She don't want to be on camera. She don't want to be on the show. But she could tell you, I couldn't sleep. I was groaning in my sleep, and I would bump into her at night and just be like, she's like, Cletus. I'm like, Carnage is female. Carnage is female. If you're gonna give her a voice, it's got to be a female voice. And she couldn't sleep. She was up since 3-4 in the morning. Couldn't sleep. She actually went on Amazon and bought fucking earplugs because I kept groaning about it in my sleep.
Yeah, no, I deserve that hate. I deserve that hate.
We're having 31 nights of horror, and we're already on the 6th, so you gotta watch 3, Larry. We're gonna do 30 nights. You're gonna fuck Elvira's Halloween bonanza thing. It's gonna be Larry, scary Larry.
Oh man.
Tiger Claw says when Mary Young says a movie is bad, then you know it's good. No, not in this case. No.
You guys excited about part 3 and Toxin showing up?
Listen. Here's the messed up part, and I'm not trying to. We're not going to spoil this, but here's the messed up part. No, we're not.
Wait, shouldn't we?
No. We're
going to be doing people a favor.
The credit scene.
No, listen to what I'm about to say.
Credit scene.
I didn't know. And that was the thing. That's exactly what I'm about to say is, like I told you, every half an hour, this movie got worse. So I was just half an hour in, I was like, oh, this is terrible. The next 15, 25 minutes, I'm like, man, this is even worse than it was before. We're getting into the climax. I'm like, oh man, this is so bad. And I was just sitting here okay, well, at least it's done. I can't, this is the worst it can get. Then we get to the friggin' mid-credit scene, and I'm like, "Oh, you sons of bitches!" I was so angry because I'm like, "Ugh." I was like, "Ugh." It just left a really bad taste in my mouth. Where I was just like, "This is the worst, man." Everything this movie could have done wrong, it did for me.
He's gonna show up in that movie. There's evidence that he was on it. He's in it.
Listen.
The issue is,
I can't. I don't want that taint.
I'm gonna spoil it.
No, dude.
I've been dancing around it, but if you guys want to spoil it, I will go ahead.
No,
I
don't
have.
spoil it.
It's
But
kind of a big deal.
who are we protecting, Larry? Who are we protecting?
Why are you? Where's the echo coming from? All of a
I'm
sudden?
drooling like fucking Venom. Who are we protecting, man? Like,
Legally.
we're doing people a favor.
Listen, the movie did really well.
Dude, if you're gonna watch that whole movie for that post-credit scene, I mean, you're gonna go anyway. It's on YouTube now. Like, if you really just want to see this post-credit scene.
Hey, listen, I'll tell y'all what I think should happen, but you all are grown. You all do what you want.
The audience has spoken. Heck, spoiler. I ain't gonna see this shit.
Nia's mom turned down the volume for a little bit because Moses.
Yeah. I always think of her now whenever I spoil things. But look, Tom Holland comes out. Tom and Tom. And for some reason, he's on the screen and Venom decides to lick the screen.
Yeah,
it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't. Like, Eddie should have recognized him, right? Not Venom.
No.
Nobody should recognize him.
He's a little kid. He doesn't meet him till he's an adult.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
even if he is the let's say he's Topher Grace that he went to. Let's just say, Larry, devil's advocate.
Yeah, rough life, Topher Grace.
That he's
Topher now.
Topher. Look, Eddie Brock should have always been a buff guy, and Tom Hardy is as buff as you're gonna get in Hollywood for like leading man that's supposed to be funny and charming and relatable.
I mean, what, The Rock doesn't exist, or
what? The Rock. Look, if a guy is a disgraced reporter from New York, he doesn't look like The Rock. All right, most disgraced reporters are losing hair and are 40 pounds overweight and look like they're one French fry away from a coronary bypass.
That's what Eddie Brock looks like.
I know, but that's the 90s comics. Like he doesn't even look like that. Like,
no,
he looks like that guy became a disgraced reporter in his 40s. Yeah, like, but his whole life he was an athlete. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost my train of thought where I was going with this shit. But either way, it's not. Even if he was that Spider-Man 3 Topher Grace guy,
right,
he wouldn't recognize him. He would recognize a suit and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Not like he looks tasty.
Yeah, Venom seeing a 16-year-old kid on TV talking about how tasty he is and licking it is a lot more creepier than Andy Serkis thought.
Should we just call him Tom Hardon or Cock Hardy? Like,
oh jeez, I'm just saying, like, it's one of these things where it's like you made your bet already. You made a Venom movie without Spider-Man, and it's not to say that you can never have any kind of Venom in Spider-Man ever, but you can't have this Venom because this Venom is, you've made it detached from Spider-Man. So it's like, what is like we know, like I can tell already from what you delivered to us in 2 that you're not going to be able to write a story that's sufficient to make it seem like, okay, it makes sense that Spider-Man's being tossed into this mix now. But so it's just like, let's just not do that. And, like, because all you're talking about doing is potentially like tainting that franchise.
Yeah, but that's inevitable. like Thanos, that's inevitable because it's just Sony controls it. Yeah. So and Tiger Claw right here says, I'm convinced that Tiger Claw is actually Andy Serkis. He says, keep in mind this like the comics, when Venom finally meets Spider-Man, it's gonna be like he's gonna take over Peter Parker's body. But I bet he'll go for comedic effect, and that's the most asinine. That's almost as asinine as Venom 2. Like it's just not that's not how this shit should happen. It's probably how it will, but it's just.
I don't think Colin's gonna wear the suit. I think when Venom shows up, he's gonna see the spiders and on the suit and be like, "Oh, I'm on your team," and then do the classic logo.
Now, here's the
It's
thing. I
stupid.
can say this. I can say this. Okay. They fucked up by not having the dragon or spider in the movie as a logo. But had they just gone with the spider right off the bat and have that be the spider from his part of the Spider-Verse, his sector of the universe, with or without Peter, it doesn't matter. That's just what that is. That's the closest thing we have here. Just have him shoot webs. Have him have the white square here. Have him shoot webs. And just ignore from a production logistical standpoint, ignore the Spider-Man movies altogether. And just have him be your Spider from your cinematic universe. And then you do a Into the Spider-Verse 2, or bring Tom Holland into the Spider-Verse and do a Spider-Verse movie, then boom, no problem. That's it.
I agree.
That's
I agree.
You know? But no. Everybody refuses to hire Dan Slott as a consultant, or Dan Slott Jr. And maybe about look, I think I'm fatter than Dan Slott at this point. So hire me. I'm his protege, his unofficial protege.
Yeah.
I studied his whiteboard on Instagram.
If they put Tom Holland in Spider-Verse 2, I want him to be like live action, like Roger Rabbit style.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty awesome.
But
he would be like the same size as the animated people, though, right?
Right. Yeah, he's just in there, but he's just not animated.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like that actually.
But then I'll be mad because then I want the comic book ones to be like,
comic book like paper,
like South Park.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm down for that. 100%.
No, but that whatchamacallit, it's already like that. They already fucked that up because Gwen Stacy's the comic book Gwen Stacy.
How do you know that?
Because the Earth that they showed for her is the same Earth from where she's from in the comics, with like Earth.
Oh,
so anyway, we should 40 minutes on this, and it's not even a topic for today.
Yeah, we weren't even planning on talking about this.
We should have been, but we didn't.
I don't know that we should have been. I think our first instinct was the proper instinct, but you know,
really not even what if, considering the last episode. I mean, it's too late now. You guys haven't watched it.
I'm behind. No, I haven't seen it.
You were behind last week. We still talked about it.
Have you not seen the week before's one?
I haven't seen What If since episode 2.
Oh, damn it, Moses. You got to watch What If, dude.
Although, for the finale, you can skip to you just watch the last two.
Two?
Yeah. I
mean, that's too much. If you tell me to watch the last one, that'd be good, but...
Well...
To quote a wise man,
you could just watch the last one.
That's neither here nor there.
If you want to know the Ultron origins, then you watch the last two. If you don't care,
quote a wise man.
Quote your wise man.
We should rate this.
Who's the wise man you're quoting?
Joe. You just said we should rate this.
Yeah, we should rate this.
I wasn't listening to that corner.
Yeah. It's your blue block right now. They're not stimulating your brain.
Jay, what would you rate Venom? Let There Be Carnage.
I'll rate it a 1. I didn't enjoy the movie, but I did get a free movie ticket out of it since the first theater I went to, the projector failed. So that was cool.
Nice.
So yeah, I would say a 1. Like, the story was bad, the characters were bad, the breakup was bad, the rave scene was bad. I like the after credit scene, but it's really bad. Like,
I mean, even a free ticket can be considered wasted.
Well, no, I mean, I could use it. I saw the movie for free, and I got a free ticket to see another movie.
Oh, okay. So that's the one that got you the free ticket. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, you're good. That makes sense.
Oz, what would you rate Venom? Let There Be Carnage.
4 out of 5. Definitely worth watching. Look, it's got its problems.
Oh, son of a bitch.
It's got its problems, but you know what? Most of the people we're talking to right now don't read comics or haven't read comics.
Or don't care.
Yeah, or don't care, which is actually probably even the largest group. The movie itself, it's fine. It's entertaining. I'm the one, apparently I'm the only one that has problems with continuity issues, and when stuff happens that just either shouldn't happen, like physically shouldn't be able to happen, or you told me shouldn't be able to happen and it still happened. Okay, whatever. People don't care. The movie itself, it's fine. It's fun. If you don't care about these characters, have a blast. I wouldn't pay a lot of money for it. If it's when it streams on whatever service you're already paying for, then yeah, go ahead, check it out. Don't spend money on this movie. Don't buy it. Don't go to the theaters for it. But stream it if you're already paying for the service. So I guess now, having analyzed what I just said, 3.5, because I wouldn't spend money on it.
That's still too much. Like 3.5 was something you would have enjoyed.
Moses, what would you rate Venom? Let There Be Carnage.
I'm with Joe. The 1. It ain't worth anything. It's not worth the well. Look, luckily they don't shoot on film now. It's definitely not worth the film it was shot on. And I mean, the fight was terrible. There's no real threat. Like Carnage is no threat. Like it's just bad all around. Personality, like the execution of trying to give Venom a personality and try to do this odd couple shit is like it. I could make you a better movie with a symbiote odd couple movie, and it will just be them talking, and it'll feel like Venom. Because I read fucking comics. Yeah, these people that made this movie, Andy Serkis, read fucking comics. Sony, read fucking comics. Like you can dilute 27 issues of Venom: The Lethal Protector into 2 good movies, and you didn't. And then you crowbar Tom Holland in it, just to think, just because that'll save you. But guess what? Once Tom Holland leaves Disney, he's shit too.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna give this like a 0.25. I hate everything about it, dude. It's probably the worst comic movie I've seen in at least a decade. I feel like it's just bad.
It actually made me forget something that I watched that was like the comic, and it was actually good, and I can't remember what it was.
It felt like a movie that was made in like the 90s to me, and like I don't mean that in a good way. I mean that in the worst possible way I can. Like, it's just yeah, it's so bad, and I hate it, and it's oh man, like it's just look, the fact that breakfast scene was probably like not the worst thing that happened in that movie is messed up. Because I remember watching that initially in the trailer and thinking like, oh man, this movie's terrible. Because that scene by itself, kind of like all the rest is probably better than that. And I was wrong. It was like everything.
That scene made more sense in the movie than in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it does. It does. It's like it's like that scene was almost like a bit of a respite because I knew how bad it was going to be.
Like I actually like Tom Hardy's Bane now.
That's how bad this movie is.
Tiger Claw in the comic says they probably read the comics. The thing is, there are parts that are not filmable, so they get only the best bits. These are not the best bits, Tiger Claw. Again, read fucking comics. Like these are not the best bits. Like I'm telling you, Tiger Claw is Andy Serkis.
I would say instead of watching this, if you've watched this movie, or if you're not sure you want to watch this movie, or you're planning to watch this movie, just go pick up Spider-Man 359 to 363. You could easily find it on Comixology. I'm sure comic shops have it too, but they raise the price because they know you're interested in it after seeing the movie. But read it. It's a good arc.
Mm-hmm.
And you get some Cardiac too. So
Cardiac. Cardiac is a good character.
Yeah, it's funny how hypocritical Spider-Man is. Like,
Yeah.
when he's talking to Cardiac about how Cardiac is breaking the law, and it's like, you're a vigilante. Like, you guys are almost the same ilk.
White privilege, man.
That's what it is.
Terry Claus says, sorry, no. The Heck says these are the best bits if Trump funded the movie, and Heck, don't drag Trump's good name into this.
Nah.
Like, he doesn't deserve the Venom shit.
Although Woody
also,
Harrelson looked like
he
a
wouldn't
red
be
Trump
funding
wig.
anything. That's another thing.
Woody Harrelson was wearing a red Trump wig. I'm convinced of that. Like, how does his hair get worse?
Yeah, I don't like how. Like, here's the thing, like he bites. The whole point of Venom
so
and
bad. Oh,
the
so
whole point
bad.
of the difference between Venom and Carnage is that Carnage is in the blood and Venom is over. It's like living on top of the skin. So it's like, I've tasted blood. That ain't blood. And then you would shit out Carnage, right? Or like, I mean, I know he's in prison. I know he's in prison. He doesn't need fiber. He doesn't have probiotics or prebiotics. So maybe it would stay like a parasite. But even still, like, he didn't act like it was in his blood.
I didn't even have time to think about that. I just kept staring at his hair. Because I understand in that first movie, his hair, like, he had the Ronald McDonald hair.
Yeah.
And you get rid of that. And then you see him here, and like Lauren said, progressively worse every half hour. You see him that first half hour in jail, and you're like, oh, his hair looks fine. I mean, I can tell it's a wig, but it looks better.
Yeah.
And then he changes it, and you're like, what the hell is that? Like, what is he doing? What? I hate Andy Serkis.
It feels like it's on purpose. Like, it really does. Where like they're like, but can we make it worse? And everybody on the crew is like, let's give it the old college try. And then they're like, dude, this is terrible too, but can we make it worse? And they're like, I don't know, man. This is like the worst thing we've ever seen. Like, these guys are like, the worst thing I've ever made. Have you made anything worse than this? They're like, well, let's all band together and make it even more terrible. And I was like, well, and you know what? Mission accomplished, goddamn. Because that joint is the worst. I hate it. I don't understand how people are a fan of these characters and are like, I like this movie.
So we should probably move on to the next.
Mo must have read Tiger Claw's next
topic.
comment.
We should just rate it again. No, I'm joking. What did Tiger Claw say?
Tiger Claw says maybe Venom 3 will have Venom becoming Agent Venom since he likes being the hero.
Yeah.
Tiger Claw is Andy Serkis. Like, Tiger Claw is Andy Serkis. That's probably gonna happen, and it's fucking retarded. I'm sorry, a slow adult or autistic or retarded or whatever the fuck you say nowadays.
Fantastic Forum exclusive. Andy Serkis reveals the plot of Venom 3.
Yeah, because it's just not like Tiger Claw. Fuck, I'm drooling like fucking Venom. Tiger Claw, just read fucking comics, man. Like, yeah, I understand you read Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics. Read fucking Venom comics. Like,
we need to move
Agent Venom could never be in this movie.
The more we talk about this movie, the more my rating of it drops, and I don't want to go through that again.
Look, it's a one all around. All around.
I started at 4.5 before we did the show, and then I thought about it as we were doing this show and it dropped to 4. And while I was talking,
I'll stick with my 0.25.
Look, you're just because it's Marvel, that gives it a 2-point handicap.
All right. Speaking of comics,
it made like $90 million without China.
Yeah, but with China, they did what?
No, they didn't do China yet at all. It hasn't opened there at all. So it's like it's a successful movie basically, and hasn't opened in the Chinese.
More successful than Black Widow. I think Shang-Chi too.
Yeah,
which is messed up.
It does. I did speak to a lot of people, and they all agreed it was stupid, and they still liked it.
I just said that. That was literally my review. It's stupid, and I like it.
Yeah, I know, but I don't like to. I usually try to hold you in high regard compared to the people I deal with on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, like if you want me to just treat you like those motherfuckers, I will. So I ignore that. but if you want me to treat you like
That's
those
hilarious.
people, I will.
No, because then you won't stop yourself from punching me in the face if I say something stupid,
look,
which is gonna happen.
Here's the thing: the problem is I don't punch you in the face. I just bottle it in, and it comes out in negative.
Right, because you don't treat me like other people. That's what I'm saying. Don't treat me like that. I don't want to get. I'm gonna say something that's gonna make you want to punch me in the face. I do that all the time.
And they thought at least they fixed it with the end credit scenes. I'm like, they fixed what? Like they didn't fix anything.
Let's talk about comics.
It made it worse.
Let's talk about comics.
Yeah.
So, like every half an hour, it gets worse.
Yeah, just like this show.
And then they put the cherry on top at the end. Right there it is. Right for real. Yeah. Anyway, look.
You know how that swirl of whipped cream and then the cherry just fits perfectly. It's not whipped cream. It's actually soft serve shit.
And then the cherry like just sank to the bottom.
The cherry's a hemorrhoid.
So yeah, comics.
So nasty.
That's the title of this episode. The cherry's a hemorrhoid. I gotta text it.
Okay. Okay. Let's talk about green.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's do a review.
Comic book
review.
Comic book
like review. Well, not like that, but like.
All right. Let's talk about Green Lantern Annual #1. Because this is the annual for the latest volume of Green Lantern. It's written by Ryan Cady. Art is by Sammy Basri and Tom Derenick. And I guess I should say Hi-Fi does the color. Rob Lee does the lettering. It's the story of Jessica Cruz basically joining the Sinestro Corps. Jessica Cruz, which is, for those that don't know, one of the newer Green Lanterns of Earth, but she's joining the Sinestro Corps.
Actually,
and,
not even. I don't think you can consider her one of the newer members anymore because there's at least 2 members after her.
Yeah, but I mean,
well, she's
Jessica
not,
Cruz.
No, but Larry, like if you ever work a job where you're the new guy, and then they don't hire anybody for 3 years, and you're the new guy for 3 years, but then they hire 2 people, like you're not the new guy. Like, yeah, don't give her that newer member shit. Like, she's not the new guy.
It's like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, like Jessica Cruz hasn't been
She's
a
not
character.
the new guy.
Hasn't been a Green Lantern or as a character for that long, right? I mean, she's been around like 5-6 years now, or is it longer than that?
Yeah, again, she shouldn't be the new guy.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You got 2 after.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're the newer members.
Technically, the newest member is Teen Lantern, although there's another Lantern that nobody else knew about until like a month ago.
You're talking about the Far Sector. The Far Sector, right? Yeah, the Far Sector letter.
But Hal Jordan's like, I have you heard of this person? I don't know who the fuck that was.
Right, but that feels very typical Hal Jordan too, though. Like I'm sure he said the same thing as Simon Bass when he first came on the scene too. He's like, yeah, but no Simon. You know, the Green Lantern named Simon. But anyway,
Simon has a version of his ring, but okay. Sure.
So, real quick, why don't you just give me like just 2 sentences on your initial thoughts on Green Lantern Annual #1. Let's start with you, Oz.
2 sentences? Why am I so limited?
I'm gonna ask everyone for 2 sentences, and then we'll come right back to you, and you can
we like
expound.
to do a short review that we can promote on the internet.
any story with Sinestro in it is good, and Jessica Cruz on top makes it better.
Indeed.
Hashtag me too.
No, hashtag me too would make it a third sentence, so I can't even add that.
Why hashtag me too?
I don't know. He made it sound dirty, just because she's a female.
Oh, okay.
Moses,
I
love me some Jessica Cruz. Don't talk about my girl like that.
Mo, what'd you think of Green Lantern Annual #1?
Look, it's a good jumping on point, and it'll titillate you to read other Green Lantern books that you haven't been reading.
There you go. Jay, Green Lantern Annual #1. Give me 2 sentences on it.
It's a good story, but there's another story though that I also want to read.
Wait, say that last sentence again.
There's another story that I also want to read.
What story is that?
Another Green Lantern story?
Yeah, like those are my 2 sentences. Yeah, that's it. Those are my 2 sentences.
Okay, Jay,
like
that's
you
fair.
Said 2, I gave you 2.
Yeah.
That's
what you're supposed to do. This is a teaser for the full review. The discussion.
Indeed. Yeah. As for me, I'll say that this definitely felt like the kind of Green Lantern stories that I've been waiting for a little while now, and so I was very happy to have read this book. So I was going to come back to Oz, but Oz decided to dip out because I don't know. He hates DC that much. I understand.
He didn't have the willpower to hold his The yellow stream beat his willpower.
The yellow stream is willpower. So, Moses, why don't I go to you then, and you talk to us about, expound further on your thoughts on this issue.
So here on Fantastic Forum, if you've been watching, you've been listening, you know that I love Green Lantern, but I don't love Green Lantern like that. I love Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp's Green Lantern, the one that's more like a heavy metal magazine version of Green Lanterns. I love that shit. And, I've read Green Lantern on and off throughout my life, and it's all been good. It's all been some better than others. As things goes, when you follow it in life, it changes. But this one, I think, was just a well-executed book, period. Like, it takes in between 2 issues that I haven't read that came out, I think, 3 months ago or some shit?
Something like that.
Within the last year, yeah. And it explains some shit in between. So it's like, man, if I was a reader and I had to wait for this issue to do it, and it feels like what an annual or what this one-off issue would do, and really just explore, because it really is just them talking about ideologies, in terms of the Green Lantern pantheon, where you got the other lanterns with different motivations and different power sets and sources of power, because emotions are their source of power. And you talk about fear and will, and imposing will through fear. And Jessica Cruz is a character that I don't know, but having just the little bit of exposure from this issue, see how she's a good fit for a Yellow Lantern as well as a Green Lantern. Like, they executed that in a page. And this is this is a masterclass in how to write comics, because they explain exposition in dialogue in 3 panels on some cases. And then the actual story takes a turn where it's like, oh, you sense their fear, so you went to help them, but you were trying to do good through fear. And then Hal Jordan comes here and, again, like the Green Lantern called them a fascist in the past. And I was like, yeah, you're a fucking cop. Fuck you. Yeah. And, but his motivation to stop her from doing it, and then seeing her, how she's similar to him, but with a yellow ring at the time. And then Sinestro, and I know I'm speaking in fractions, because this is like me being high reading it. I'm trying to take you into that moment, and it's like it's just finely crafted comics, and I didn't expect that from DC. You know, like even the way this book is put out, like with the annual, it's essentially a business. It's for money. It's not for the love of the art. Like that's how I see these annuals. That's how I see a lot of DC books. That's how I see a lot of Marvel books, a lot of big comic books. That's why I love reading the independent creator-owned things, because it doesn't have that feel when you're writing the story. Like they have a certain momentum, a certain way they are executed in panel structure, in dialogue, and when you actually get to do good, artfully crafted stories in these big comics, it's a beautiful thing, because it's so money driven, and there's still art in it. And this is a perfect example. If I was teaching a class at a university on how to do comics or something, this is a good one, because it just tackles every aspect of what I would like in this story, which is just tell me about the Green Lantern, tell me about the Yellow Lantern, tell me why it's so bad that she's doing it, and show me how each one would tackle an emergency.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just done. It's almost formulaic in that sense, but it's formulaic to me. Like that.
Mhm.
That's what I felt like. This is what I would like. If this would have been any other book 10 years ago, maybe a random Green Lantern book, or random Green Lantern interaction with Yellow, because I feel it's a Yellow Lantern book, but they don't have a
Right.
title. So every now and then they do those things where it's from that perspective. Like I feel that it'd be a little one-sided. You know, there's always these books that feel a little one-sided. Even like we're talking about Venom, well, that's one of the things. It all felt one-sided, but I don't know whose side they were on. You know, in the movie, it was just convoluted, and that's usually my criticism with these type of books. And this one, it's just it is a study in ideology, and different ideologies going for the same goal.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, like this motherfucker should go for an Eisner. Yeah. Like, this is something that people should read. Like it's give it to them as like required reading for like being an individual in the modern political landscape.
Oz, why don't you jump in, man? What you think of this book?
I don't know if you guys realize that Jessica Cruz is my second favorite Lantern.
Behind Kyle Rayner?
Oh, I hate you. Like Kyle Rayner. Did you just say, is that just the first thing that popped in your head, or is there a reason you threw that out?
I thought you liked Kyle Rayner for some reason. Is that not true?
No, that was Lloyd.
Yeah, you probably thought that because I'm an artist too, and he's an artist. No, the my favorite Green Lantern of all time is Sinestro.
Oh, boo! I feel you though.
Hey, no, this book justifies that though.
Yeah, like Sinestro was an amazing Green Lantern, and him turning yellow is like it's amazing. But Jessica Cruz is like right behind. Like everybody, obviously, Hal Jordan is the most powerful Green Lantern of all time, according to the comic books. I think it should be Jessica, because I actually know how she became a Green Lantern.
Right.
How she became a Green Lantern is so crazy. Like there's like a 50-book arc on her like actually like turning into what a Green Lantern should be. She spends like the first 20 books not even being able to make constructs because of all her issues. So if the Green Lantern power is the power to overcome fear, Jessica Cruz should be the most powerful Lantern of all time.
Like she literally was afraid of everything.
Yeah, and setting aside Mullane and Teen Lantern, because I'm not 100% sure on them. Yeah, they just came out. They're so new. Like, I need to learn more about them. But right now, it's Jessica Cruz. And her picking up a yellow ring it just made her even more interesting. And
Right.
you guys aren't reading the series, but
I started.
I don't know what stories Joe wanted to read. I'm assuming it had to be the story of how Jessica Cruz defeated Yellow Lanterns without a ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Well,
would
yeah,
be,
I mean, that's interesting, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
what I was gonna say is it's kind of a weird thing because it's not like I could tell you issue this through this. Technically I could, but what the last 6 issues, which is the 6 issues before this annual, were they were an event happens where the power battery gets destroyed, and so all the rings are done. All the Green Lantern rings are done. They just don't work because the battery. I should rephrase that. Any Green Lantern tied to the battery doesn't work. Mulaney's works because it's not tied to the battery. Hers works different. We can talk about that if you want. Hal Jordan's works because it's not really a Green Lantern ring. He created that out of sheer force of will.
Right.
In another book. And Teen Lantern is a lantern because it's not really a ring. It's a device.
Mm-hmm.
Gauntlet.
Yeah. So, all these. It's a device. Gauntlet and backpack. Anyway, so those books are broken up into like 2 or 3 stories. You know, it's not like a main story and a backup. It's literally like 2 or 3 stories, and Jessica's is in like 3 of those issues, but they're not like consecutive because one of the backup stories, like, they change it for some reason. And
Well,
yeah,
just tell me what I need to read. Like,
I'd have to look.
It's not issue 3. It's issue 3 and 4, I think, right?
Not of the current series, no.
It might be like 3 and 5, and that's the thing.
Oh.
Each issue, it's like a regular sized comic that has 3 different stories going on in it. There's a John Stewart story. There's the main story of like what happened. Well, I guess it's technically a Simon Bass / Mulaney story.
But her story isn't in that one.
I don't know what specific issue. Look, I have those books. I can go when we're done. I can go look through them and see which books specifically have her story. But it's not like
I read them today.
All 6.
Yeah,
it's in there.
Or technically, I read 3 last night and 3 this afternoon.
Okay, I know her story is in there because that was actually my favorite of the stories in the books. Was when you get to her alone in a space station, knowing what I know about her fears, and then suddenly Yellow Lanterns show up. I know her story was the best because it was more like the Aliens movie, I guess. She's alone in a space station, and now there's a threat that she has to take out. So yeah, that's the story you want to see. And as I'm trying to recall all the books that I read about that, I don't think you're gonna be satisfied with the solution. I'm not 100% sure there was an actual battle. To be honest, I know she took out. I'm sure you see her taking out at least one. I don't think she took out all of them in the books. And it just means I gotta go read 1 through 6 again.
Listen, Joe reads comics digitally, so they don't give you all the comics there sometimes.
Maybe that happened. And trust me, I love the format, like how they've been breaking up these stories and telling them, making sure everyone's story gets told a little bit. I especially like the Simon Bass story, which technically I didn't like.
Technically, it's a Teen
Not
Lantern.
for him. Just I like Teen Lantern, and her story is awesome. Like the way her constructs are like people she knows, is amazing.
I just like the fact that she thought, well, if Sinestro did this, then I should go kill Sinestro and like nobody's stopping her because nobody can.
Right.
That's hilarious.
She's like, I'm just gonna go to New Korugar and kill this guy because obviously he must have done it, right? Okay, I'm just gonna go do it, and like nobody stops her. No, well they can't because no other rings work. So she's got
Right.
it. And Mullane has to come over and explain to Sinestro why he shouldn't kill this little kid that's destroying his city.
Now you want to talk philosophical debate? The conversation between Sinestro and her is actually a really good one.
In the team or Jessica?
Hmm?
Sinestro and Teen Lantern or Sinestro
No.
and Jessica?
And what's her name? Far
Jessica
Sector
Cruz.
girl.
Far Sector. Oh yeah.
Oh,
No. What's her name? Rose something?
No, it's her last name is
Sojourner, isn't
Mullane. Sojourner Mullane.
Right. Like the conversation between Sinestro and Sojourner is a really good one. Like the way they frame her beliefs and her preconceptions and how she's willing to put them aside to have a conversation with Sinestro. And it's a highlight.
That's a good story, but the thing that makes the story in the annual good too is because we don't really get a lot about the yellow rings. Like we know the Sinestro Corps bases its power on fear, but we never actually see how Sinestro believes fear can do good, because ultimately that is what he's trying to do. That's he couldn't do good as a Green Lantern. He felt he could do more as a Yellow Lantern, and so this whole book is him explaining the philosophy of why he believes that using the power of fear is better than just pure will.
And this page that I shared here, it kind of, it's like a tiny microcosm of that, where how Jordan tells her, like, so I'm gonna scold you now that you're not doing. And he's like, well, I'm not part of your core anymore. Technically, you're the only one that has a ring, and she's like defending herself for even using the ring just to try to get home.
And actually, that's one of the things that bugged me the most about this book was Hal Jordan, because of all the people to harass, like the way he comes at Jessica for having a yellow ring. It's like, dude, you've worn the yellow ring. You worn every freaking color of the rainbow for a specific reason, because you had to at the time. So you should understand if, like, she tells you up front, hey, I needed to get home. I was in space.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not like anybody with an active Green Lantern ring came and got her, It's not like she loved to get home and a Star Sapphire came and helped her. It's not like she was like, I have the will to get home in a Green Lantern. It's like, man, I hope to get home one day, and then a blue one comes, like, she's like, I'm afraid I'm never going to be home. And then she fucked 3 Green Lantern, Yellow Lanterns up without any power. And then, but what she says in those panels, this is exquisite writing for me. Like, this is what I like. This is like a nice 7-year-old bourbon, where it's like, I was afraid to use this ring, and it's a fear ring, and she's afraid to use it, and then she sees the good she could do with it now that she can't use the green one, and she's like, that conquered fear. Like, that's some kind of hope, or maybe another weird emotion that just conquered her fear, and she's still, still fearful about it. And that still fearful about it is where that ability to still fear it and still be able to do the good, I think, is where the balance lies in these wielding of the yellow rings, where it's like, you fear it and you still use it. That fear brings it respect and it brings it lets you not go down that darker path, you know. Where say fear leads to the dark side. Yeah. But it's like, yeah, you can be afraid of it, but you got to respect it. They always say about the fear of God. It's like nobody's afraid of God. They just fear him and respect him, and that's
everything that Hal Jordan does in this book, I think would have been better served if you had Teen Lantern, at least Sojourner Mullane, like somebody that doesn't know Sinestro, doesn't know that, like somebody that shows up and like, all I know is that the Yellow Ring guys are bad.
Yeah.
Right.
The way he acts, because like I said, Hal Jordan has worn a yellow ring because he's had to. He's
Right.
had
But
to
he's
be,
also the company man. Like he's
not the
the
company
dude.
man. His ring isn't even a Lantern Corn ring. It's his own, like his own will created a ring.
But again, historically, like he's been the police guy. He's been the detective. Like he's been he's the military guy. Like
You're talking about Guy Gardner more than Hal Jordan.
Like, I would say it's
I'm talking
that's
about Hal
John
Jordan
Stewart
before,
now.
but I'm talking about Hal Jordan before even Guy Gardner existed. Like
Yeah.
that's who he was.
Traditionally.
Like that's who he is at his core. Like he's grown, and you watched him grown. Like you only like him because he's grown. That's why the New 52 can come and go, and the Green Lantern book with him in it still more or less stays the same until Grant Morrison gets it. Because his journey has been a 40-year-old journey. You can't just throw that shit away.
I do see the point you're making, Mo. I do think I agree with Oz though, just because of what he's been through,
you guys read the
should
book.
like
I only read
have
this one.
more empathy. But what I will say is, what I can definitely agree with you on, Mo, is that I do feel like this book is definitely a book that is a great demonstration on how a story can be like a self-contained story, like a comic that you can literally just hand to somebody and be like, read this, and they'll understand this story like it has a beginning, a middle, and an end. But at the same time, it still fits right into the continuity of the current comic book. And like it does like what Joe said, where it piques your interest and you hear about these instances and these stories that if you want to go and read the main series, you can go do that and get those stories. It doesn't even give you the only footnote it gives you throughout this whole book, if I'm remembering correctly, is it tells you that it takes place before issue number 5. But outside of that, all you know is like, okay, well, this happened at some point, and if you want to go see that story, then you know that you can go to Green Lantern in the current Green Lantern series, and it's probably somewhere in like before or around issue number 5. You know what I mean? And so, but it doesn't matter, because all the information you need, they give you in the story, because she tells you what she did. But if you want to see it, which they give you just enough information that I know I felt the same way Jay did, where I was like, I want to see that story. Now, I didn't know Jay had actually read all the current comics and still didn't see it, which I'm like, that sucks. I hope, because I'm going to do the same thing. Like, I read like the first 3 and I didn't read that story either. So I got to read the next 3, and I'm hoping that I'll come across it too, but if I don't, then I'll be like, Oz, where did you see the story? No, like,
that's what I want to know. I read 4, 5, and 6 today, and they're great. Like, each one phenomenal. Where's this Jessica Cruz story?
And that's how I felt about, like, I was trying to read all. Oh, go ahead.
The annual takes place before issue 5. That's the one thing I do know.
Okay.
Like, they mentioned that. And
Right.
I did not see that story in 1 through 4.
I will say that, I was trying to read all of the 6 issues as well before I read this one, but I ran out of time, so I only got through 3 of them, and then I'm like, okay, well, let me read this book so I can be current for the show. But like, this Green Lantern series is great, and I'm very happy like that I got to read the first 3 issues, because it does reference some things in this issue. But again, it does it so well where I'm like, even if I had not read those issues, I would know, like, well, I need to be reading Green Lantern because apparently something happened to the battery, the Green Lantern battery on Oa, and apparently there's like a new lantern that no one knows about that is like, have you ever heard of her? And it's just her and Hal Jordan, and that's about it. And I'm just like, wow, like this is like, it makes things that are happening in the Green Lanterns, like the sphere of the Green Lantern universe, sound really interesting. And all it is just giving you kind of like backstory, you know what I'm saying? Because it's all happening in the context of these characters having conversations with each other and catching up, because they're like, dude, Jessica, you're alive. Like, thank God, And it's like awesome. It feels very natural, but it's exposition. So it's good stuff, man. And you still get your action and you still get conflict, whether you're talking about like actual physical conflict or you're just talking about, like Mo was talking about earlier too, with the difference, the clash of the philosophies. So it's a great book. And on top of that, like, the art is good. Where it's just like, and you have two different artists, and it's still like both of them is, are like they did the job,
Yeah, consistent. They work well with each other, and at first I was like, okay, that's not the greatest art, but it was good.
No, it's good, and that's it. Yeah, you're right. Like it's not gonna knock your socks off, but it's good,
right? But the thing is, they're all talking, so it's like just having different facial expressions at different moments in different panels alone is an achievement, because it's an easy book to cut and paste. Yeah,
and that's true. And like Oz was saying, any book with Sinestro is good. And while I'll say that was like the case, definitely in certain points in Green Lantern, I personally don't feel like that's always the case, but it was definitely the case with this book. And
that's the one complaint we don't have about that Ryan Reynolds movie. Sinestro was still tight.
Yeah, Sinestro was amazing, right? I agree. And in this book, like some of Sinestro's like mannerisms and his facial expressions are so spot on. Like it just feels very, very like peak Sinestro. Sinestro, it's like, and it's like, it's really cool because throughout this book, you kind of see like Sinestro knows exactly what he's doing. And it like it feels like he's like, oh dude, like I got all of this handled. And by the time you get to the end of the story, you're like, dude, this fool does. Like he's like, you kind of like, dude, like I could totally see somebody that doesn't know Sinestro would be like, who's this guy to have this kind of air about him? Yeah. And then by the time you get to the end of the book, you're like, oh, I know now.
And that's the weird thing where he's not like you would think as the head of the Fear Corps. Like he's not inspiring fear, like, he's not scary, he's not doing things to make you fear him, it's like, his poses, his stances, it's even like the artist, like this is where they shine, because they made him look really like as part of something, like his head's not too oddly shaped, not too disproportionate, like. Because in older books, when he was the villain, like that was one of the big things too. Before he was a Yellow Lantern per se, like he had that big oblong head, to make that make that he's a villain, the classic look. But my brother always talks about how they did like the DC showcase when he was a kid on TV, and he saw the Sinestro, and then he watched the Superman episode with the Green Lantern and Sinestro. It's like it was just like that one I saw in the 70s. Like, and Sinestro always makes an impression. I guess is what I can take from that.
Yeah.
And in this book, he's like, I know Sinestro. I like Sinestro. Making another impression.
Yeah. So, Oz, you got anything else you want to add before we start getting towards ratings in regards to this particular book?
No.
That's fair. How about you, Jay?
I just looked through issue 4. That fight isn't there. So
look, you got a physical copy for the fight, Jay.
I need the fight.
I don't think you get the fight. I think you get them showing up and Jessica Cruz like having a plan, and I think that's where it ends.
Oh wow, that's wild. Anyway, so okay, Jay, what would you rate Green Lantern Annual #1?
I would rate it a 5. I love the story. I love the interactions. I love how afraid Jessica is, because that's like the one thing I know about her is that she is afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And so to see them like really take that and kind of run with it and just make it this huge character event happening in the middle of this Green Lantern event is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Moses Magnum, what would you rate Green Lantern Annual #1?
Look, this shit was so good. I thought Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp did it.
You're hilarious.
It's a 5 out of 5. Like the whole episode is really a conversation. The action in it is really just to cement the concepts in this book, and it's just well executed. I was really surprised to see that I didn't recognize anybody's name working on this, and you need to recognize these people. I want to see Katie's image book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oz, what would you rate Green Lantern Annual #1?
I was scanning through all the other issues digitally, and it's bugging me that I'm not seeing Jessica Cruz in it. I know I read something where Jessica Cruz is alone in a space station and sees the Yellow Lanterns coming, and it's upsetting me that I'm not seeing it in this digital version. I'm gonna have to, because now I have to go to my storage room, find the box, find those comics, take them out, and go through them, because I don't know, maybe something's wrong with this digital version that I'm staring at. So I gotta look through that and find where those books are. But I remember reading Jessica Cruz. It felt like Alien. It's her by herself, and there's an enemy on board, and she's got to figure out how to take him out with nothing but her wits and her will, I guess. But that aside, this book by itself, dude, 5 out of 5. People should pick it up. Now I'm a little bit biased because obviously I'm a fan. But yeah, like you guys said, it's a great jumping on point. It's an interesting conversation in philosophy, if that's your thing. It's a good place to start if you want to get into Green Lantern books.
There it is. I'm look. Obviously, I can't even go against the crew at this point. It's like it is, in fact, a 5 out of 5 book. It's fantastic. It's everything
against the Cruise.
it's everything you would probably be looking for in a Green Lantern book. So yeah, check it out. Like, do yourself a favor. Like, even if you're like, hey, I'm kind of, I'm a little ambivalent about Green Lantern. It's like, give this book a read, and you might. It can definitely give you an idea of what you might be able to expect, the kind of stories you can expect from the series, and you might decide you want to give that a try too, because it's early on in the run. So yeah, check it out. 5 out of 5 from the Fantastic Forum. Good stuff.
One more Sinestro pick.
Yeah, look at his eyes, man. That's awesome.
Like, just that scene is like, it's like when Luke tells Yoda, "I'm not afraid," and he's like, "You will be." Like that's that scene. Yeah. Like the color is hi-fi. What is it? Hi-fi did the colors. Like it's a masterful, like it's a master class in comic writing. Now, when you have an ongoing series, you can't do this month in and month out. Like I know it can't be an expectation, but that's why it's a fucking annual. Yeah, It takes a whole year to make this masterpiece.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, let's let's switch gears and let's do some
news. Before I play that news music,
yeah.
and I'm mad that.
Oh no, not news. Doom
Patrol.
Oh, Doom Patrol. All right. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I didn't watch it,
so
I'm just gonna sit here.
What?
I'm behind. I was planning on catching up yesterday, but you made me watch Venom.
Nah, listen. You were supposed to have been watching Doom Patrol and Venom.
No, I don't have time for that.
Oh well, listen. I didn't know that you weren't watching Doom Patrol. I would have told you to watch that instead. Even not knowing what I know today, I would have told you to watch that still.
Comic book theater. Comic book theater.
I only got through like half the season of the second season of Doom Patrol. I haven't finished.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Oh my God.
And but before we continue with Doom Patrol review, I think for a one shot, Oz and Joe should give us the definitive reading list.
No, you got a little muffled, Mo. Say that again.
I think Oz and Joe should give us the definitive reading list of, like, if you want to get into Jessica Cruz Green Lantern, like what we need to read.
Oh yeah, that would be a cool video.
Okay.
So
also watch.
I'll expect it on my desk by Friday.
You don't have a desk.
And what the fuck you think the show on?
Or do you want to do the books and I'll do the cartoon?
Wait,
you guys do it together.
Wait, we're actually doing
YouTube cartoon. You do it one video. Like, have a.
Do you have? Can you watch that, Oz?
No. Like, I'm not saying watch it and do a review of it. I'm saying do a listicle video. Like,
listicle.
Yeah, just tell us what we need to read. Like, I mean, if you want to do a review, do it, but don't wait 6. Like, if it's gonna take you 6 months to do that, don't do that. Like, I want this done by Friday.
Friday. Yeah. I get like 12 hours in this studio until like December.
Again, that means we have to end on time, and you guys record it after.
We're never end on time.
So
we have one day to produce and shoot and execute, and then Friday I'll post it.
Well, my part of the list is done.
Okay.
Like, I already know what I would suggest.
All right.
She was on a TV show?
She was in Justice League versus the Fatal Five.
Oh, yeah, she was in that one.
Which is actually really good. And it's in continuity with the Justice League animated series.
I thought he was talking about like the DC Girls one where Jessica Cruz is brave.
She is in that.
Yeah.
I don't watch that show.
No, it's bad.
I wouldn't have thought of that. But it's good that you're thinking of it. You're keeping it in the public eye.
I wasn't
DC superhero girls. Mary Young says,
no,
go read. He says, watch it.
I don't say that at all. Like, watch it instead of Venom. not in general. If you got a choice, you should definitely take that bullet versus the Venom bullet.
Now I got a symbiote. It's named Conundrum. And it's should the title be The Cherry is a Hemorrhoid or Watch This instead of Venom?
I'll
say watch this instead of Venom.
Okay. The Cherry is the Hemorrhoid it is.
So, Doom Patrol Season 3 started a few weeks ago. I think it's at episode 4?
Yes, episode 5 comes out tomorrow.
Okay, so what have you all been thinking about this latest season so far? Which I don't. Do either of you happen to know how many episodes it's going to be this season? Or
I think it's 8.
8. That makes sense. I guess that's kind of the typical 8 to 10 episodes is what you get these days, right? Which is kind of crazy, but at the same time, as long as they're high quality episodes, I'm not mad at it.
Well, that was the thing with DC Universe shows. Like, they didn't go too long, and the ones that did go long, like, ran out of budget.
I think this season is actually 7.
7. Okay.
Oh wow!
So we're halfway done.
Yeah, more than.
Man.
So yeah. Look, Oz, what have you been thinking about Doom Patrol so far?
I only watched the first 2.
Okay.
But I mean, it's what we got in the first 2 seasons. Weird, quirky stuff that looks that's good. It's just good and weird and quirky. It's what Umbrella Academy is trying to be and fails at consistently.
Damn. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. How about you, Jay? What do you think?
I'm enjoying the season. I mean, it kind of starts off high and kind of dips low, but even the low is like pretty good. Okay. And it's definitely got some good lines, like the professor telling Jane to eat him, like, is hilarious. Even though it took me a while to get it, like, I got that one the next day. But yeah, it was pretty funny once I did realize.
Subtlety's a strong suit, is what you're saying.
Right. And then Vacay Patrol, man, you know me, like, or you may or may not know me, but I love supervillain, like, retiring or like off the clock stories, and Vacay Patrol does that in like a real way. Like, I love that. Like, I love that episode.
I like who.
It's so good.
I'm trying to figure out who the person it is, Jay, that's supposed to know that you're a big fan of supervillain vacationing stories. Like, who is that person that knows you that well? That's just like,
well, you should.
Yeah,
because I tell you about it all the time.
Me, I am that person.
Oh,
I've mentioned it on the show a lot of times. Like
he loves that.
Hear me say,
when the Punisher goes to the bar of villains, like, he loves that story.
Yeah, but that's not vacationing.
No, but they're off the clock. They're just chilling in the bar. Like, he loves that because not being villains, they're just chilling. And then that's why I recommended the Ryan Stegman, Nick Spencer Spider-Man book, where Spider-Man goes to that bar and hangs out with the villains too.
Yeah,
because I know Joe better than you.
Yeah, the trope officially called punch clock villains, where basically it's. What's up?
I was like, "What? That's a trope and it has a name."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Wow.
And it starts off with, like, there was the old Warner Brothers cartoons with the wolf and the sheepdog, and they would clock into work, and the wolf's job was to steal the sheep, and the sheepdog was to stop him. And they would do their thing, and then they would take lunch together, and and then right after lunch they would be back at it. And it's like, I've always loved that ever since then. And stories that do that, or put the villain in a vacationing role, like where they're just not doing their thing anymore. That was one of the things I loved about Impulse, where Max Mercury, his villain, like his main villain, just like decided to stop. And he was just
like Joe brought up that series of books he read because of Venom 2. And I think in that series of books, if not before or after, there's like a scene where Venom and Spider-Man are just chilling on a beach. And then the Human Torch comes. I don't know. Is that in that series of books, Joe, or is not?
No, that one's a little different. Like,
okay.
That one, he actually went there to find Venom, and that was when Venom still hated him, but thought he was dead.
But he was still like off the clock, right? Like he was just chilling.
Yeah, well, he had retired because he thought Spider-Man was dead, so he was just hanging out on the beach.
So for those two pages, he was like, it was a glorious off the clock villain. And that the movie reminded me of that at the end, but I wasn't supposed to spoil it. I'm sorry.
So
And then there was the time Dr. Doom was just kind of hanging out in New York. And like he got into a fight with the Thing because Thing thought he was up to something, but he was just like chilling, like, dude, I'm not even here trying to cause trouble. I'm just on vacation. And Thing ends up getting his ass kicked over nothing.
that's
But
wild.
yeah, so that's what I'm into. And Vacay Patrol does that. I can't remember the dude's name, but he worked with the big brain, and his job was to sit there and wait for the Doom Patrol to show up. Or no, he was waiting for a call to tell them to like call to action that never came because the Doom Patrol had already beaten him. And so they're just at the spa waiting. And the dude is like, finally, he's like, you know what? Let's just stop. Like, we don't need to do this anymore. And, you know, he has a conversation with Cliff. Like, they talk and hang out. And then Cyborg tries to start shit. And the dude is like, yo, we don't need to have a problem here. Like, we're just doing our thing.
We're relaxing.
Right. And then it even goes so far as to like when they end up getting the call at the end, near the end of the episode, because of course they do. And the dude is like, no, let's just ignore it. Like he's telling his friend, like, let's ignore it. Like it's over. It's been like 50 years. Like we should just put the shit behind us. And he even goes to warn the Doom Patrol when his buddy is like, nah, I'm still on the clock. So yeah, I love that episode. That was a highlight for me. Zombie butts. Funny. Like funny. Not gonna lie. Zombie butts trying to eat brains is pretty funny.
Such a weird show, man. It's such a weird show. It
Oh, and
has
there's a great scene where, and this is spoiler territory, but Mo, I know you don't mind.
Yeah.
At one point, the team is killed, and they're mailed to the house, and Larry finds them, and he like puts them together and wraps them in bandages and sets them at the living room table. And so when Dorothy comes home, she's just like looking at the scene, and she's like, Larry, why did you put our dead friends, like, why did you set up our dead friends at the living room table? And it's so funny. And he's like, yeah, looking at it with fresh eyes, I can see how doesn't work.
The funniest
Like,
part of that is that Larry
show.
has fresh eyes.
But it's such a good show. It's so fun.
Yeah. It's interesting how random it feels like the show is allowed to get without feeling disjointed or disconnected, you know? It's like all the random stuff that does happen all kind of feels like there's a certain rhyme or reason to it. And not all of it is directly connected to like what's happening from a story perspective, but it just feels like a natural progression of some of these characters or some of the situations, even if they don't tie into the larger narrative.
Well, they laid a foundation. Like you look at that first season, and it's all randomness that's actually part of the story connected.
Right.
And then when you get to the second season and now third, like you can deviate from the main story and still have it feel almost like a comic book. Like you have your offshoots that aren't part of the saga, or they take place in the different timeline.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of that show, doing that. And it, you know, it's something that it leaves a lot to be desired when you see something like the Venom movie. You know,
right?
It's like they can get random, and they get random, but it's like there's no kind of foundation.
So something to say?
Yes, you in the Starfleet uniform.
It's I'm sorry. It's just it's been bugging me since we started. But the Jay, the book you want to read is Future State Green Lantern #1.
Thank you. Okay.
Future
I will
State.
check that out.
Wait, what is it? A backup story? Because it isn't that's not in the Future State timeline, is it?
It's in the Future State Green Lantern book, and there's 2 stories in the book. I'm looking at it right now digitally. There's 2 stories, and one of them is the full Jessica Cruz story.
Wait, did we review that?
No.
No, we reviewed Future State because that was its own thing.
Okay.
We didn't review like because there's Future State Batman, Future State this, Future State everything.
Yeah, they have a whole line of books.
I think we just did it as a whole because you guys weren't going to read all those books. I did, but you guys won't.
Well, I read a lot of them.
I don't believe that.
My plan was to read all of them.
By the way,
but
it's just
that didn't happen.
It's just Future State Green Lanterns #1. You don't need to read #2 because that story's done after that.
Honestly, reading the annual made me want to go back and like catch up on all the like. I'm happy with the series, like the 1 through 6 and whatever. But I actually did want to, because I was considering going back and doing Future State and just getting up like all the Green Lantern stuff. Like, I like Green Lantern. It's been like forever since I've actually read Green Lantern, but I've always liked the Green Lantern, and I've especially liked the concept when they like turned everything into emotional spectrums. Like, I thought that was interesting.
Okay, well, yeah, Future State was 2 books, and if you like the Jon Stewart stuff, that's like the bulk of those books is his stuff.
Okay.
Now
Mo, yeah, I'm a little disappointed that you didn't watch Doom Patrol because I wanted to ask you about their portrayal of the Dead Boy detectives.
I can already tell you that it judging by how the Doom Patrol series is and how it's not like the comic, but it feels like in the right tone. Like I can already tell you that's probably what's going to be it because it just
that Grant Morrison feel to it. It's weird.
Yeah, but Dead Boy Detectives has nothing to do with Grant Morrison. But it is from that era of comics, that British invasion. Like rock and roll had the Beatles and Led Zeppelin and Rolling
Well, they
Stones.
made their first appearance in Sandman.
Right. So, and that's the thing that British invasion for comics happened in the 80s with Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Neil Gaiman, Garth Ennis, and so they're they're in the same wheelhouse. So I can see them doing it right and doing it well. I'm disappointed that it came out here before it came out in the Sandman Netflix series because I've actually watched the the teaser for that series, and like not only does it look just like it's the comic, it looks just like it's the Lock and Key one too. Yeah.
Now, I do have a little bit of bad news for you, Mo. HBO Max did order a pilot for Dead Boy Detectives.
Okay, that's gonna
produced by Berlanti.
Yeah, that is disappointing, and my comic boner did go down now. Yeah, that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem with when you have something like you make something for the big comics, like they're gonna use it because they have the rights. When you read there was a Dead Boy Detectives miniseries, and that's probably what they're gonna be doing. If that's probably what they have the rights on, and that was okay. That was good. The actual Sandman story was good, but the way that Sandman goes is they're just dreams, like they're stories that happen along the main side, along the main Sandman story, and he encounters those dreams or realities, you can't tell the difference because they're blurring together. And that's, in reading Sandman, like now is coping with Harley's death. Sandman has been a great fucking help. I can't even like, I need to like bow down in front of Neil Gaiman because I don't, this dude did anything a therapist couldn't do in just reading Sandman 40 through 50. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, that's the sand. The Sandman throws the sand to your eyes to fall asleep, and you dream these stories, and that's kind of what these adaptations are. They're shitty ass. A shitty piece of shit person like Berlanti could dream up a Dead Boy Detective series, and it's not going to be the Dead Boy Detective series. Yeah.
Derek A says, "Why the Berlanti hate? He's the only guy who's managed to be successful on TV with DC's goofy characters."
Derek, I can see why Derek loves Berlanti, because Derek, and any line of work Derek has ever done, he could be a hero in a Berlanti TV show. The desk jockey IT guy is the most valuable asset in any Berlanti TV show.
I'd have Derek H on my superhero team.
Look, for me, Derek H would be the thinker. Like that. He's a brilliant person.
Yeah.
Berlanti wouldn't use him as that. He would use him as the
hot wife that would betray him.
Like I wouldn't even put him through that. I'm like, this guy's.
I wouldn't put Derek on my team. I can't trust him.
Oh, I could trust him. I mean, I could trust him to like, I'm gonna suffer, but it's gonna be for a good reason because his brain works on that level.
Dude's gonna stab me in the back so quick. No, I don't trust him.
He won't stab you in the back.
He will.
Nah, he won't. You don't know.
You're saying he's gonna steal your hot wife, Oz? Is that what you say?
No, he's gonna. Please, she will avenge my death.
You don't know Derek well enough. Derek won't stab you in the back. It's illogical to do that.
I think I know Derek better than you guys.
Derek is like the Vulcan on your team. Like,
I see the true Derek. You guys see the facade that he puts up, the non-emotional Vulcan face, where I know the craziness going behind the mask.
Nah, you're wrong.
This is like what, like during your pillow talk or something? Like where are you seeing this Derek?
He says that. Derek H says I would definitely steal Amber. He says that because it would be the logical thing to say at this point. Like, he doesn't even feel that. Like, he's just it's just the logical thing to say right now.
Look, I can barely keep her from stabbing me in the face, so
Look, I'm convinced you hired a dog babysitter just to like keep her from eating it.
Yes, I've told people if I leave her and the dog alone while I'm out of town for a month, one of them is not going to be alive when I get back, and I don't know which one. I really don't.
I don't know how to take that. But okay. Wow. Anyway,
so I think that's about it for Doom Patrol, right?
Is that 5 out of 5? I'm sorry, I was rereading Future State while you guys were talking blah blah blah. Doom Patrol. Oh, look, it's Robot Man. Oh, blah 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 blah. I'm a ghost, and there's ghost fucking, and threesome. Whatever.
Okay, look, I'll let you say this now. This is the only good DC TV show you got, man. You might not want to poo-poo all over it.
And guess what? Derek H. Berlanti has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he's like funding it at best.
Yeah,
like, he had the idea for it, but all the shows that Berlanti has a direct hand in have turned to crap. That includes Flash. Flash lately is crap.
Flash has been crap since season 4. Right.
Flash and Arrow started good. By season 3, they just downhill. Just straight downhill.
I haven't seen Legends of Tomorrow lately, but Legends of Tomorrow decent, right?
No,
it's not decent.
It's okay because the characters understand that they're a parody at this point. Like they realize they're a joke, And so that kind of like gives them a little like if these characters took themselves seriously, this show would be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
And the last season was just ass.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
The one saving grace in it is Constantine. Like he's what kept me coming back, and he gets like 2 episodes to himself that are great, that I love, because it's Constantine being Constantine and just screwing over everybody. But the shows where like other people show up, honestly, my wife has a better time. It like enjoys Legends of Tomorrow more than I do, because I actually take each episode and cut out just the Constantine parts and show her that. And so she thinks it's a great show because I've cut out all the crap. And considering like Constantine really just has his total time in the last season was 2.5 episodes worth, tells you how good that season was.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll still say I feel like Doom Patrol is probably like top of the mountain as far as DC television content's concerned. But I'm not watching all of it.
Better than Superman and Lois?
He hasn't watched that.
No, I do watch Superman and Lois. It's a good show. It's like Superman and Lois might be as good. It's definitely a different type of show. I feel like I still think Doom Patrol, only because I feel like Doom Patrol leans more into its comic book roots. Like Superman and Lois is a good show, but it's a family drama that happens to have superhero stuff in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would say Stargirl's better.
Oh, dude, no one believes you, Oz.
No
one believes you.
Have you seen season 2?
No one believes you. No, Oz, there's no way that Stargirl show got that good as one of those 2 shows. I don't believe it. Like I just like
you're just angry at her because she gained like 5 pounds.
I
don't know how many pounds she gained because I haven't seen second season.
But Jay,
like the first season's enough.
Fat Stargirl or Starfat or something.
No,
Jay
I didn't.
Would not do that.
I didn't do that.
Jay is way more clever than that.
I must have been.
Jay's real clever. I know what you're talking about. He said it in the fucking pre-production text. He called her a fat fuck. That's what he said.
No, I didn't.
More witty.
I don't feel like Jay. Oh, go ahead, Jay.
Derek says I saw Berlanti's name in the Doom Patrol credits.
Yeah.
Legends is basically just reverse sexual harassment every week. How many women has what's her name slept with?
White Canary has slept with everybody.
But the thing is, it's not harassment if they like it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
No, but that's a definition. Like I've been sexual harassment training. They say it's not harassment if you like it. Like the moment that they say no and you keep doing it, then it's harassment.
I'm leaving that alone. I'm trying not to get canceled in 2021.
No, you can't get canceled.
Mo's right.
Yeah, I'm doing it by the book.
If you
like,
hit on
the moment they're uncomfortable,
yeah, and they say no
or stop,
and then you keep doing it. So even if they say no and you stop, you're good. They harassment.
For the most part, like there's some things that are a little too overt.
Yeah,
if you unfurl it and like wrap it around the wrist and ask them what time it is, then yeah, you're gonna get
right.
Yeah,
like that. They don't have to say no or stop.
Yeah.
Like that's automatically
hey, nobody likes that.
harassment.
I did that once and like never again.
So
the worst was when I heard about when Oz did it, where he had a picture of it and he told some chick, "Have you seen my missing baby?"
she was like, "Oh, it's a preemie."
Like, was your wife on crack?
I'm like, oh no. Anyway, okay. Should we do some news?
Sure.
Comics are done. There's no paper in the world. The finite resources are ending. And the collapse of humanity is imminent.
Hey, man.
Oh, I
play the music. Play the music, Unholy Beelzebub. If you're gonna look, I like so I can get cheered up.
Comic book news.
We should have a
Comic book
like her.
news.
Well, not like that, but like
You got me out here all twisted up. I read that story too, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh no. It's like the
Joe, man,
supply
high
chain
five
that
your
got to
camera.
the comics.
Joe, high
What?
five your camera. High five your camera, Joe, because we're digital comics guys.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about finite resources,
Dude, digital
Well,
comics are so awesome.
except for the power grid. Like, because once that goes down, our digital comics are gone.
Dude, the fact
But
that
it's
I
still
don't have to wait till tomorrow to go buy Green Lantern Future State is awesome. Like, I just bought it and I can read it right after the show.
Look, I have a one shot in the can. A Fantastic Four one shot. You're gonna get that if you subscribe, like, hit the bell. We're gonna have extra content that we don't get to on the live show because we're talking about too much other shit. We have Demons, Scott Snyder's new book with Greg Capullo on Comixology, dropped yesterday. I was able to read it yesterday, film the review, and then all I had to do is edit it today, which I didn't have time to. So it'll be up sometime Monday next week because I got another one shot for, I forget the name of that book. Oh, House of Slaughter. That's coming out.
Yeah, man. So
yeah,
there's no
are done.
there's no paper. There's no paper. And that'll be the end of comics. So thanks for watching.
Actually, this isn't the first time that paper shortages have affected comics. And I know, like, back in the World Wars times, they were destroying comics because they needed the paper.
Yeah.
And if that happens now, your regular average comics will become collectibles again.
Right.
And that'll bring a whole bunch of people into the field that we don't want.
Well, but how long did it take the first time around to bring the people into the field? Like 50
Oh, it took a while.
Yeah. We don't have that much time.
I'm preemptively not liking that they're here.
Well, I'm right
Jake's
now.
like, I just like the people that have come to the field that aren't here yet.
Well,
I'm actually trying to kickstart the movement. I just burned all my comics, all my physical comics.
well, in the as Jay put it, the World War times.
Jay, you did say that. The World War times.
They didn't know, like, the comics weren't worth what
Right.
the books are now. But now people, like, look, whenever the number one comes out, people go out and just get it because they think it's gonna be worth money. Now, if they find out that the same, well, I guess not the same, but a similar event to what happened in the World War times is happening now, there's going to be a little bit of a rush for any book coming out this year and next year, because they're going to expect that there is less copies of it, so it's going to be more collectible and worth more sooner.
Yeah, but also I think from a business standpoint, if you're creating comics, I think digital is now a viable option. And work that into your contract. See what kind of royalties you get into that. And from a publishing standpoint, it's like kind of do what Image used to do, which is like if you order it ahead of time, you're going to get a printed copy of it. If you don't, you're going to get a second print. If they even have it, you know.
Right. And supposedly that's kind of where we're at with this paper shortage thing, where it's like there's telling everybody like, hey, like, order what you want earlier so we can know and allocate and resource the amount of paper we need.
Yeah.
But anything beyond what you're trying to order may not happen. So yeah, who knows? Like the next rung of issue ones and such that come out, or just other random issues, may not get second or third printings because maybe we don't have the paper for that. So
There's a paper shortage.
Just buy digital.
Put a link on where I can donate a tree.
no. Lord.
Well, that's the whole point. We don't want to like that. They're using recycled shit already, and they don't want to cut down more trees. You know,
Ideally.
that's why there's a shortage. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a shortage because they just cut down more trees.
I will steal recyclable paper from work. Like there is like I get tonnage. Just tell me where to send it, man. I will give me my
Right.
books.
Right.
What I think I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start like printing my own white covers now because I don't think they're gonna be doing those.
So
like,
what,
they
you
would
got
do that.
staple a sheet of paper to each?
I'll just wrap it around and put it in the Mylar bag.
Like, buy like a ream of like copy paper and just kind of like glue it on.
No. If I'm actually printing it on myself, I'm gonna buy like our fucking cold press 300 series paper. Like I'm gonna do like actual good paper.
Fuck it, let's do vellum. Fuck the sheep.
Yeah. No, not vellum. I need cotton. I like cotton.
So, in other industry news, this week was the first week that friggin' Penguin Random House delivered Marvel Comics to the direct market, and apparently it was a bit of a fiasco because Penguin Random House, which is Marvel's new direct-to-market, like exclusive direct-to-market dealer, they don't know how to pack comics. Apparently,
quick question. What?
Yeah.
And maybe you guys talked about it, and I was like just gone or missed it. But why is Marvel using random whatever house he talked about? Not a story, but DC not using Diamond was.
Because DC started a new partner with a new company during a worldwide pandemic.
Isn't that what Marvel's doing though? Like just starting.
Yeah, but they just picked a different time to do it in.
So it's just a timing issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
a timing issue is
You don't
the
do
big part
that
of
kind of shit at the start of a pandemic.
like
I mean, you kind of do it when it's financially advantageous. I don't. But okay, all right.
I mean, ethically, you don't, but business-wise, you do. I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
when we did those shows, I actually sided with them because it's like they gotta survive. Like one of my biggest quotes in that time was, "Business is evolving life form, and if you can't adapt, you're not gonna survive."
Right, and like I interrupted the story, so I apologize, Lawrence. But it sounds like the story is that whoever this new distributor is crappy at packing, and even like when we talked about DC not using Diamond, I comic book retailers were telling me how bad Diamond was at packing their books. Like it's a subject we've talked about before.
Oh yeah,
and we're seeing Marvel try to find a new distributor and found somebody that, for some reason, was worse at packing comics than Diamond.
Well, keeping in mind too, though, that when people talk about Diamond, they talk about it like we're talking about differences in degree here, because it's like you mess around and Diamond, because it was exclusive, can rest on the laurels a little bit, and sometimes things come not in as mint of a condition as you would like it to.
Okay, that's being generous, but keep going.
Well. I guess what I'm trying to say is this: is the difference between what your books look like when they're damaged, when Diamond doesn't do their job well, and apparently what happened with this Penguin Random House thing is on two different levels.
Okay.
Like literally, like boxes split open as they arrive to the comic shops. Like literally, like for instance, I went to a comic book shop today, and I couldn't buy a copy of Excalibur. What is it? 23, I think it is. I couldn't buy a copy of Excalibur today because every issue of Excalibur that this comic shop ordered was damaged. And I'm just like, that's messed up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's crazy, because it's not like, oh, well, the ones that were damaged or undamaged sold out. It was, there are no copies for you to buy. So, yeah. But also, too, just going back to your question in regards to why the difference between Marvel and DC when it comes to this changing of distribution, too. Not only is the timing a big part of it, but I think also, too, the way Marvel did it with the leeway. Like, Marvel, not only did DC do it at the beginning of the pandemic, but they also were like, okay, so this is going to happen in like the next 2 months or something like that. It was like 2 or 2.5 months. And I think when we did the story, Marvel did it, of course, like a year and a half later. And they also gave like a 6-month leeway. So it's not like anybody was like, wait, what's happening? You know, it's like basically cats were like, so I need to figure out what I'm going to order from this new company, you know, like today, so that I can make sure I get my books, you know, down the line. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, it was literally like the cutoff point was like a week and a half away for when they would have to order from this new distributor. And then I think the other part, of course, too, is the fact that DC went with people that were technically direct competitors to comic book stores. And, you know, Penguin Random House, of course, isn't a direct competitor. They do books as opposed to comic books. But, you know, like DC was going with
Penguin Random House was putting out their trade paperbacks in Barnes and Noble like for the last 20 years or whatever.
Well, yeah, but that's still not like floppies.
No, I get it, but it's not something that's new entirely to them. It's just they just gave them more responsibility this time around.
But I think it is new because, like trade paperbacks are a completely different animal than the, you know, the single issues. So it's like, and it's not to say that, like, I don't think they should have done this bad of a job, because not like you have to reinvent the wheel. Like, you can literally go on YouTube and see what Diamond, how they pack their stuff if you want. You know what I mean? And they could have been like, we can just do that.
I might do an Oz's package right now.
I have a package.
I bought some shit off of Kickstarter and it was beautifully packaged.
Oh, you're gonna steal my stick. But you already opened it, so I guess that's
yeah. I was just gonna unzip it and let it flow out right now.
Though
I've done that. You risk getting arrested if you just unzip and let it flow out.
Though we should probably save that for next week.
The unzipping.
It's about time for us.
Yeah, we should not unfurl.
Head on out.
I agree. I agree. But we got. Do we have any more news stories before we go? Anything that
we do? We don't got time.
Joe wagged the finger.
Joe wagged.
That wasn't a finger.
Well, Joe wagged the finger.
It's premature. It's premature. All right, then. Shoot, let's get out of here then.
I'm glad we rehearsed this.
Oh man. Okay, Oz, why don't you give me some final thoughts, buddy?
Go watch Stargirl.
All right, Joe likes to call her fat fuck.
I'd never called her that.
I didn't even hear it. I missed it. Okay. It's okay. Jay, final thoughts.
Derek in chat says you're talking about a dead industry. Comic books should be selling digital copies in shops by now. I mean, I don't agree with the dead industry part, but definitely digital copies should be sold in stores.
What, like a gift, like a card or something,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They do it for everything else.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a criticism. I was just trying to figure out how they would do it. But yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, like GameStop sells codes for games, like comic book shops to sell codes for comics.
All right, codes and pops.
Muzz Magnum, final thoughts.
Earlier, I talked about how good something was as an adaptation, and I couldn't remember. And Venom was so bad that it made me forget. And I just remembered it was The Long Halloween on HBO Max, the animated thing. The art doesn't look like the comic, doesn't do it justice, but the story flows just like it. And you should check that out.
Supposedly, that's what the new Batman movie is going to be based on, but I don't believe that at all.
I can already tell you it's not.
No.
Yeah.
Scarecrow's not even in it.
Look, he's not in Long Halloween either.
Listen, for the entire Fantastic Four, Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. We'll be back next week. In the meantime, tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you want us to talk about, and what it is that we can do to make the show a more enjoyable experience for you. But until then, we're the Fantastic Forum. We'll catch you next time.